back to the Crimson 15 podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sand, and if you're enjoying these long format reviews, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit that bell for notifications. So we're up to episode 2 of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, and this one, are they going to be doing funny little puns with all the titles of the episodes? Because this one's called the Ties That Bind, and like Katra is tied up for most of the episode, so is that what they're doing? I don't know. It's really silly. But we open up and we see the Horde's taking over some place. Like, oh, they attacked a place or did something. No, it's in Chaptra's old castle. And they're like, oh, we like took it over, but there was no defenses or anything. It was just empty. And that made me think of one thing. So the good guys never went back to the castle to reclaim all that technology, or at least, I don't know, not leave it there for the Horde to get it, but whatever. So I'm guessing now they got access to all of old and Entrapta's technologies and everything. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. We get a shot of Katra here, and this is where you get just more inconsistent character designs. The tail placement. An animal's tail does not come out of their butt. It comes out of their spine. But here it's clearly coming out of her butt. They got to get their anatomy right. And, you know, they're talking, they captured it, but there's nothing to capture. Scorpia gets lost because remember how it's like a labyrinth in there. Things all like, tons of hallways, false doors, all that kind of stuff. And then she can't find her way out. Katra, guess they can activate like a beacon so they can find each other. And it's like foreshadowing because we're going to use it later on in this episode. We see these two other characters. I remember them from season 1. Like their species, like the little goat people. This lady on the right, she's like super cute, but nothing happens with this. They look at each other and run away. They never show up again. Hopefully they come back in another episode, or there was just a waste to show these two extra characters. We cut back to Adora, and she's fighting one of those robots from last time, and she does like this sword spinny thing, like, you know, you spin the sword behind her back. But here we go. How is she not cutting her cape and her hair off? I'll have a clip in here. It's a little ridiculous. I mean, it's supposed to look cool, but I also noticed in this episode, when there's action, I'm like, oh, it looks better, but it's an illusion. They're just speeding everything up. So that'd be like if you took a game at 60 frames per second, and instead of actually making it run at from 30 to 60, you just sped up a 30 version. So things look a little off. It does look smoother, but it looks too quick. And that's what happens here with the sword spin and like a couple other fights in this episode. Looks like she's getting control of her weapons. Like she can like control what they turn into. She makes a grapple hook like straight up out of Batman. Shoots it, climbs on top of a tree thing, and kicks the robot. Here's the thing. She-Ra's crazy strong. She could have just jumped up there. Why even make the grapple hook? Why even waste your time? But whatever. She kicks it and beats it, and it's another training session. Does another impossible sword spinny thing. Starts talking to Light Hope, and she's like, oh, you're doing really well, but you need to start integrating Swift Wind into your training. And I'm like, oh God, not that. This stupid horse. It's weird. I don't want to say he's better, because he does plenty of stupid, irritating crap, but he does have a couple of good things to say, and he's a little bit more honest at the end of the episode, but he's still ridiculously irritating. So Light Hope's like, oh, you and your steed need to be, because you're like one and the same. You're connected. So you need to work together. And of course she doesn't want to do it because even though she likes Swift Wind and like deals with him, she doesn't want to spend time with him because he's a complete idiot. More gags. Swiftwind pops up. Hey, how's it going, Adora? Like scares her. And like, how did she not see him coming? Where is he coming from? She's see-through. Whatever. We get to Bo and Glimmer, and just like at the end of the last episode, Bo figured out Entrapta's still alive. They're like, oh, we gotta save her. They must be forcing her into making weapons and stuff, which is, you know, logical for them to think. They wouldn't think that she would just straight up join them. And this is a pretty decent scene where Glimmer's like, we left her behind. We left her to die. And you can see both sides of this. When they saw her get locked behind those doors and then I guess those fire things kicked out, they thought she was dead. They never confirmed that she was dead, but they were being chased and they were escaping. So it makes sense for them to have left her behind, but it's also a pretty crappy thing to do to leave, you know, no soldier left behind. But would it be worth risking all the other princesses just to save a dead princess? I can see both sides of the argument. That's a pretty decent little conversation they have here. But like dummies, Glimmer wants her and Bo to go do it on their own. And what the hell? Why do that? Oh, Bo's like, oh, we'll get a door. No, Door's training with Light Hope. Oh, we'll get the other princesses. I can't risk them. No, you bring some soldiers. Are there no freaking soldiers in this whole entire... We see them standing around. They have cool looking weapons. They don't do anything. So, of course, they're going to just do it on their own. Big mistake. We get back to Adora, and she's talking to Light Hope, but she's starting to glitch. Like, freeze up and everything. And apparently, I guess, when Mara did what she did, the previous She-Ra, it destroyed this Watchtower. And every time they say Watchtower, I just think of Jehovah's Witnesses. But, like, so, how would Jehovah's Witnesses help anything in this situation? But whatever. If they can put this Watchtower back together, it will give Light Hope her powers back. And she's explaining everything that happened. And just look how terrible Swiftwind looks right here. Ugh. She's such an ugly design. More comedy. Light Hope like glitches up and her mouth's like screwed up and then she stops talking, so they just leave her there. Okay. Bo, Glimmer get to... is it called Drill? I've heard that they said it a couple times in the episode. So Entraptor's old castle or the land is called Drill. They show up there hoping to find Entraptor. They think that she's captured. They're hiding behind some boxes. They see Katra and she like scratches her ass. Okay, whatever. She gets a call from Kyle, and apparently one of Entraptor's robots is like going haywire and it's like busting up the place, and Kyle's just a pathetic loser. And it's a misunderstanding here. Bo and Glimmer overhear the conversation, and Entraptor's like trying to stop one of her robots, but you know how she's always loud and just talking and everything, and they think she's being tortured, which would make sense. They would think that's something that they would do. And instead of having a plan, Glimmer just rushes out there like an idiot, starts fighting Katra. Scorpia's there, starts fighting Scorpia, and she's doing like a bunch of little teleports and fighting them and shooting her little glitter bombs and stuff, which is cool. But like I said, the fight looks decent, but they just sped everything up. It's just a cheap way to try to make it look better because it still looks a little off. Like on rewatching it a couple times, you can see that it's just in fast forward, which is unfortunate when they could have just done it right. But whatever. Bo's shooting arrows, but of course he can't hit anyone with these arrows because it would kill them. And Katra just makes a bunch of cat noises, like she's growling and everything. That's nothing. She never did anything like that in season 1. I know she made like purrs and stuff like that when, you know, just regular everyday noises, but never like in combat. She's straight up like a feral beast. So the fight continues on. Bo hits Katra with one of his little smoke arrows. Why not just stab her with the real arrow? That's the problem when you give good guys like killing weapons and he can never use them. He has to always use like the, you know, smoke arrow, goop arrow. He ends up using the goop arrow on Scorpia to like pin her hand to the ground. But couldn't she just use her other hand to cut it free? Whatever. They use the same gag from season 1 where they start teleporting into the castle because they're looking for Entraptor, and they're in one hallway, then another one, then they're all smushed together, and you know, all the same stupid silly faces. They make the silly anime faces. Katra catches up with them. They start to fight, but Glimmer and Katra are all over the place. Bo can't shoot an arrow because he might accidentally hit Glimmer. They decide she does the pocket sand. Dale Gribble. She hits Katra with some pocket sand.
Pocket sand. Yeah.
And she tries to teleport out of there, grabs onto her, so all 3 of them teleport outside. They're falling like through the clouds, so that's pretty high up. And I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna teleport to safety. They straight up hit the ground. Do they fall like 100 feet? Like, what? It's so stupid. Katra hits the ground and her tail does like the little fuzzy thing. These jokes, I don't know. These visual gags. I guess the visual gags are better than the written jokes because at least they're just visual and you don't have to have them belt out a stupid line. Bo hits Katra with the rope arrow, gets her all tied up. And they're like, oh, we got a prisoner now. Well, that's interesting because they really remember when they had Adora as prisoner and they didn't know what to do with her. It's kind of the same situation here. Get back to Adora and Swiftwind are trying to put the Watchtower back together. The hay or wheat here, it's like blowing in the wind. Looks really, really cool. But no, they're just walking and talking and freaking Swiftwind is just... He's a tough pill to swallow. I still haven't gotten used to it. It's just... He's always talking and, oh, we need to work together. But what he's saying isn't wrong. He's just so irritating. Basically, he's like, we should work together and because our powers are connected and I can sense magical objects here, so we're in the right place. Maybe if we, you know, he'd say like connect and stuff. And Adora wants nothing to do with them. She's like, I'll just figure it out. He's like, well, we do some loop-de-loops and that always makes things better. And, oh, I can feed your emotions and... She's like, stop getting in my head. He's like, whoa, you're just an easy book to read, which is true. Adora is, she's not very good at hiding her feelings. And he pokes his horn through her little hair bump in her. Okay. He's trying to get out of Adora, like, what's wrong with her? Is it Bo? And then it's like a pony Bo. Oh, is it Glimmer? It's a pony Glimmer. But why is pony Glimmer white? Shouldn't she be darker skin? Katra pony and then Shadow Reaver pony. It's a My Little Pony gag, whatever. It's obvious that she's worried about being She-Ra and fixing the wrongs of the past She-Ra, but we don't really know what happened. Because I think Mara did what she thought was right, and they're kind of throwing her under the bus here without any real explanation, which I thought was kind of crappy for her to do. So they find all these runes floating in the sky, and so that is the Watchtower. So I guess it got all exploded or whatever, so they got to figure a way to put it back together. We get back to Bo and Glimmer, and remember when Katra was tied up in a net? Now she's tied up in like vines. So they untied her and retied her up. This happens a couple times in the episode where she's being tied up in different ways, like for no reason. Bo and Glimmer are having a conversation of what do we do with the prisoner? And Glimmer's like, we're going to take her back, and we're going to do a prisoner exchange. We'll exchange Katra for Enchantra. Not a bad idea. We get more silly anime goofy faces because they're yelling at each other. And Katra is just being weird, smelling her feet, like trying to scratch her head and everything. And this is where Katra shows she's a great manipulator. And their Glimmer is all emotion. She's angry, she's yelling. And of course, someone who's like that is easily manipulated. She's like, where's the chapter? Again, tells her, she's like, I don't know who that is. So she's just being stupid. And she's like, well, it looks like I'm not telling you anything. If you want to take me, I'm not walking. You don't have to carry me. So she's like pretending, oh, my legs don't work. Maybe if you untie me. And she's just manipulating them and setting them up for a big trap. Get back to Adora. She becomes She-Ra. They skip the animation and go straight to being She-Ra. She's like stabbing the rocks, thinking she can give them power. Nothing's working. It's, you know, one keeps singing songs. I don't know. Is it endearing? Is it cute? I don't know. I just find it to be irritating. And we get back to Bo and Glimmer as they're walking their prisoner back, and they can't teleport straight to Bright Moon. It's too far away. But why not teleport a few miles at a time? They never show how close these places are, but apparently they walked there. So I can't imagine it's 10, 15 miles. So why not just slowly but surely teleport there? Whatever plot device they made. Glimmer's teleport very important to her character, so they have to make up stupid reasons why she can't just use it to fix every problem. Because in the last episode, she's like, oh, my teleporting's so powerful now that they restored the thing in the castle. So then they bring up, oh, you might get too tired. That hasn't been a problem in like 8 episodes, and now it's a problem again. Katra pretends to fall down. Of course, Bo's a nice guy, picks her up. And look how horrible this looks. Look at Bo. Did he shrink? The inconsistencies, the character designs are ridiculous. And Katra's, of course, giving him crap, and she's tied by her hands now instead of being full tied up again. So she went from net rope to full vine to just hand vines. They should have put those hands behind her back, but whatever. They start talking, And Katra's, of course, giving him crap. Oh, you guys are always, you princesses are always about friendship and stuff. So she's calling Bo a girl. She's misgendering Bo. That is not cool, Katra. Get with the times. We don't do those kinds of things anymore. But she just keeps doing that to him, like straight up calls him a princess right to his face. And he's like, come on, even in the Horde, in the friend zone, you got to have friends, right? And of course they do. And you even see it in this episode how much Scorpia is like literally like a mom who lost her child. It's almost ridiculously stupid how upset she is that Katra's missing. And then she's like, yeah, you and Adora grew up together. You guys had to be friends. And of course, then she gets that kind of, look on her face, but she's not going to let herself get manipulated. So she's like, oh, so you and Glimmer must be best friends. Oh, we grew up together, blah, blah, blah. Oh, she'll do anything for you, right? And her plan is to get Glimmer to use up all of her teleports so she's weaker. Not a bad plan, but she's throwing herself into these really dangerous situations to make it happen. Bo makes more stupid anime faces. He gets tackled over the side of the cliff. And straight up Looney Tunes cartoon here. They're falling. Glimmer falls after them, and they're having a conversation as they're falling. Oh, I want to see if a cat really lands on their feet. And she's like sitting and pouting, like she's in the pouty position with legs crossed, arms crossed. And yeah, this goes on for like 30 seconds. So this cliff must be pretty freaking tall. And yeah, it's just super silly. She teleports them to fall into a river. Was this thing already falling into a river? Or did she move them somewhere? I don't know. It's dumb. They end up on a log and they're going to go over a waterfall. Glimmer's teleport powers are getting super weak. She barely gets them out of there. They barely live. Katra keeps antagonizing her to have her use her sparkle punches, and it's not working. And she has Glimmer wrapped around her finger. Everything Katra's doing, she has complete control of the situation, which is plays to her character. She is a manipulator. I'm sure you guys can do a whole lot with this screenshot. Glimmer grabs her, like, come on, you're coming with me. Then she like licks her, like full on licks her arm. Glimmer throws her to like knock her down, and then she hits her little transponder to let everyone know where she's at. We get back to the Horde, and like I said before, Scorpia's going nuts. Like a mom who lost her baby. She's like, what do we do? Where she's at? Do we tell Hordak? Do we send out a search party? Yes, and yes. What's the deal with this show and not using your resources and or telling adults? I can understand Glimmer like a couple times, like, I don't want to tell my mom because I want to be the one to do it. Okay, she's an idiot. Scorpia, even though she's kind of a goofball, I thought she was a soldier. Well, apparently she's a goofball idiot. So she's freaking out, going crazy. Transponder goes off. She's like, oh good, we can use this to follow them. We get back to She-Ra. Got a pretty cool shot here. She's trying to like concentrate her powers, figure out something to bring this bring the Watchtower back together. Then as she's doing it, Swiftwind's like, oh, I think you need to concentrate, like whispering in her ear. It's a gag. It's been done in 1,000 shows. In Avatar, when Aang was meditating and everyone's standing around like, what's he doing? Oh, he's trying to enter the Avatar state. Oh, should we do something to help? And they just keep whispering and it's just bothering them. Yeah, stop using old gags. Come up with something new. And then Swiftwind's like, okay, I'll just fly around, do loop-de-loops, and be a weirdo. She-Ra, again, tries to solve every problem with like brute force. So she tries to literally rope up all the rocks and like just force them together. That's not gonna work, but whatever. We get back to Glimmer, Katra, and Bo, and they're just dragging her. They don't know anything. What I would do with anyone, you would make like a makeshift. You get a bunch of sticks, time together, layer on that, so when you're dragging her, it's a little bit easy to drag. That's what you would do with like a casualty of someone who got injured and you couldn't physically carry them. But they're idiots, so they don't know anything about anything. And they're just walking back to Bright Moon. There's no way this can work. Katra's just, talking more crap, falling all over the place. And Bo's like, can barely lift her up. Glimmer, yeah, she's a big girl. Katra, I can't imagine her weighing, 109 pounds, maybe? And he's like struggling with her. Come on, seriously, Bo? And we get more stupid cat humor. Oh, you need to shut her mouth, Bo. Bo's like, I would, but she bites. And then she kind of like winks. Okay. Apparently, the Horde caught up somehow. They don't have vehicles. They don't have anything. They ran to Katra and they met them there. Why not show the ship or one of their little flying skiff thingies? No, nothing. They just show up. So it's they didn't bring Kyle, thank God. Scorpia, Lauren, was that the black girl's name? And then lizard person. They kind of have like a little standoff, like, oh, what's gonna happen? How's this gonna go down? We cut back to She-Ra and her stupid planet trying to put everything together. And Swiftwind's like, oh, I think that one's upside down. I think it's weird. I think you should start all over. And he's not helping. He's like pissing her off more. I was thinking maybe he's trying to get her to learn a lesson, but he's not. That's just the way he is. Then it's pretty cool here. He starts pushing on the rocks too while she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm helping you. It's my job. I'm your steed. I'm supposed to be here for you. So I'm like, oh, okay. So even though he knows it's wrong to like try to use brute force, he's going to do it because technically She-Ra, his master, is doing it. So he's going to do it. I kind of like that idea. It's a little bit of loyalty there. As before, Swiftwind hasn't really shown any loyalty but to himself. It's kind of cool to see him actually show it towards She-Ra because technically he wouldn't exist without her. Get back to the standoff with Scorpia and all them, and Scorpia's like, oh my god, are you okay? And acting way out of character. I don't mind her being goofy, but being like super worried and scared is kind of ridiculous. Glimmer's like, okay, we'll give you Katra if you release Entrapta. And then even Scorpia's like, what the hell, release her? Like, she's on our team. She doesn't spill the beans, thank goodness. And Katra plays up a pretty good thing here. She's like, you know what? You're going to let me go, or I'm going to tell them to kill her. And like, damn. She's like, yeah, get Kyle on the comms. And of course, they're dealing with that robot and everything still. So it sounds like she's being tortured. And she's like, in 10 minutes, if I don't contact you back, take out Entrapta. And Kyle's like, what? And they cut off communication. So she's like, oh, looks like you got a choice here, Glimmer. You're either going to let me go or I'm going to kill your friend. Here's the thing. Smack her around a little bit. Hey, I'm not going to kill you, Katra, but it didn't say I couldn't punch you in the face. And then they have that whole thing. We can't be like them. They use these tactics, but we won't. Are you telling me they're going to fight this whole war without ever killing anyone? Without ever capturing an enemy? I'm pretty sure they've blown up plenty of tanks, fortifications, and they have killed soldiers. It's impossible, even ridiculous to think that they're fighting a war with 0 casualties. Yeah, pretty stupid. But of course, Bo, since he's an idiot, he has to talk to her into letting her go. And it's the big old because we know as an audience that Entrapta joined the bad guys. And even Kevin's like, you freaking dummies. She's on our team. Like, what are you talking about? She shows her a video because they want to, show us that she's okay. And then Entrapta's like, oh, hi, Bo. How's it going on? And he's like, Entrapta, are you okay? We're going to come save you. She's like, oh, that's cool. But what do you mean save me? I'm here now. They've gave me all this technology. And he's like, what do you mean? He joined the Horde, the Horde's team. And she's like, oh, I'm on Team Science. What I would have said is, you're killing people. Entrapta, are you okay with your science killing innocent people? But I guess they're so dumbfounded, they don't even know what to think. Glimmer just turns her back because I guess it broke her heart. And she's like, broken. And that makes sense because she felt so bad for leaving her behind, found out she was alive, and not only alive, but one of the bad guys now. And of course she's going to blame herself for, if we would have went back and saved her, she wouldn't have become a bad guy. None of this would have happened if I would have been more brave, if I would have been more strong. That's good. That's a good dynamic there. It's muddled with all the other crap. And, Entrapta's like, with that black garnet, it was just the first step. And then Bo's like, damn, you're the one who did that? They cut the video feed. But yeah, she killed tons of people. Her actions were going to destroy the planet because that's in the season 1 finale. That thing was like controlling the weather and it was like causing tornadoes and lightning storms and stuff. I know Entrapta's like, oh, I'm just doing it for the science, but you got to draw the line somewhere. She's the bad guy. There's I don't know if there ever is going to be a redemption arc here or whatever for her, but she has been the direct result of her actions have led to the deaths of probably at least a couple hundred people. You're a bad guy, Entrapta. Then they're going to just like walk away. But of course, Glimmer gets all super pissed off and she starts another fight. We cut to Swiftwind and Adora. She drops out of being She-Ra. She's just laying there in the grass. And this is where Swiftwind gets a little bit better. You take one step forward, just a little tiny baby step forward with Swiftwind, and he's like, I'm sorry I wasn't taking this seriously, and you know, the way that I am, I'm just super excited to be your steed, to have all this power, to be able to actually help people, to make a difference instead of just being a horse. And even Adora's like, I'm sorry I did this to you, because if I would have just left you alone, you could have just had a normal horse life, eating, you know, in the pasture and just being a happy life. And he's like, no way, I wouldn't give this up. I'm your steed now. I'm for a greater purpose. Like, oh, that was nice, and get a horse hug. I just wish these little moments came without all the silly, stupid crap. Cut back to the little fight that Glimmer started, and yeah, she's gonna take on Scorpia and Katra when she couldn't even fight Katra correctly. The fight, again, it looks better only because they sped it up, which makes it look sillier in a weird way. Just throwing the, I know it's not the Benny Hill music, but that silly, like, kind of circus music, because they're moving too fast. Katra's like, just focus on Bo. Glimmer's all out of magic. She got nothing left. But I guess she held back a little bit in reserve, which is smart, not to use up everything, and gets Bo out of there and basically saves him. But she's all tired and everything, and they're going to have to walk back to Bright Moon. Not a bad tactic, but what was the point of Katra just holding on to Bo? Freaking stab him, cut him up, bite him, do something. Why is she just holding him? It's like two-hand touch. Are we not fighting a real war? If they win, if the Horde wins, they're going to kill a lot of people. But they're like afraid to do any real fighting. Whatever. We get back to Adora and Swiftwind, and since their magic hug causes his horn to light up.
No. Take it off slowly. Yes, that pleases me.
And that was the power they needed. The working together. That seems to be the theme of this season so far, in season 1, episode 1 and it's episode 2. Whenever they work together and get over some big emotional problem, it fixes everything. She becomes She-Ra, touches the stones, they all come back together. They build the tower, and I guess this whole time Light Hope has still been glitched out. Tower's putting out all the power. We see all the symbols. You know, did ancient aliens build these symbols? And Light Hope gets reconfigured, and she's like, oh, I guess she's gone. Who's she talking to? Why would she talk out loud? Bo and Glimmer are laying in her bed, like all spent, as they walk back home. Adora walks in the room. She's super excited. Oh, guys, you wouldn't believe what I just did. I did this really cool thing. She has a bunch of grass and stuff in her hair. Why? She put the tower back together. I guess it didn't show anything, but did she start rolling around in the grass after fixing the tower? There's no reason for her to look like this. Bo and Glimmer look all beat up because they got into a couple fights. And Adora's super happy to talk about everything that just happened. But Bo and Glimmer are like, Adora, we gotta tell you something. It's pretty bad news. They're probably gonna let her know Traptor's alive, but now she's a bad guy. And that's the end of this episode. Was it better than episode 1? That's like saying, I fell down and hit my head, but then the other time I fell down and hit my head and scraped my knee. Is it one better than the other? Yeah, I guess, but what are we talking about here? We're comparing a 3.5 to a 3, a 4 maybe. There's parts here. There's components that are good, but it just falls flat in a lot of places. The comedy, it's better in this episode because a lot of it's more visual. But yeah, it feels like these episodes are wasteful because what did we learn? We learned that the good guys learned that Entraptor was still alive. Nothing else. And I guess she rebuilt the tower, but that was just something they threw in there that necessarily didn't even need to be part of the story. And Swiftwind's a little bit better. That's it. That's a whole episode to waste on those two couple of points. Not using your whole team, leaving the other princesses out of it. Stupid move for Glimmer. Same thing with the Horde. They just go out and do everything on their own. Ridiculous. You got to let Hordak know when one of your force captain gets captured. You got to let people know. But overall, just another bleh, not a lot of characters. I guess it's just cheaper not to have other characters in the show. And I'm glad She-Ra's starting to learn how to use her weapons. No grapple hook. That's stupid. It's too, it's out of place. I'd rather her just have a rope and a hook and she throws it up there, but a straight up Batman style grapple hook, ridiculous. Episode 3 is tomorrow, and see you guys then. Crimson Sane here. Thanks for watching the video. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single upload. If you have any tips or story ideas, hit us up on Twitter at C15Podcast, or better yet, join our Discord server, link in the description below.